What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the Cup Series race on Draftkings at Talladega Superspeedway. This is a great weekend in NASCAR. If you're watching this before the Xfinity Series race comes out, be sure to check out that video before the Xfinity Series race. You can do similar things, play Draftkings. This race is not like any other track. I mean, Talladega and Daytona are their own monster, their own beast. These tracks, we're really looking more at how you construct your lineup versus individual plays and data on past drivers at these tracks, because that is really not as necessary. You're really looking more towards how you're constructing your lineup, playing guys from the back, really not playing guys starting up front. That's just how it is. If you want to know more about how to stack the back, I will pin a video up towards top, and I will link it down below. It's really where I go in depth on past optimal lineups, what we're looking at, how to build your lineups based around salary, as well as basing it around where the positions are starting in that you're using in your lineup, because in all honesty, you don't really need to finish whole salary for these slates. You don't. None of the optimal lineups fill out all the salary. At least it's very rare that they do. And so leaving salary on the table is not an issue for me. Don't be looking at your lineup and saying, let me go from a guy starting 20th to a guy starting 9th and fill out the salary. I just don't think that's the right way to go about things. It never has been, and I don't see it changing here this weekend either. So be sure to check out that video as well. If you're playing, a little brief thing from that, if you're playing a cash lineup, which cash lineup is head-to-heads or double-ups, any of that kind of stuff, I'm playing only drivers starting behind 20th. I'm not playing anybody starting inside the top 20. In cash, you want a high floor. You don't need the high ceiling, you need the high floor. So that is what you're going for. You're going for guys starting in the back. If you're playing a tournament or a single entry or triple entry or 3 max or any of that kind of stuff, I will be implementing guys in the 11 to 20 range. But overall, in cash or tournaments, I'm not playing anybody inside the top 10. So Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Daniel Hemrick, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, and Tyler Reddick. I'm not playing in any lineups this week. They just don't really serve a purpose here for me. They don't really have as high of a. They don't have a floor. Her floor is so low, it's ridiculous. This is why we do stack to back at Talladega and Daytona. I mean, there's a bunch of wrecks, and it's really unpredictable. That's just the nature of these races. So if one of these guys wrecks, they're negative points. That's just how it's going to be. And if they, finish where they start, if William Byron finishes, let's say he starts 8th, he finishes 6th, he'll get that'll be a good point stay. Nothing wrong with that. It's not gonna. I mean, it's going to be fine for your lineup. But if Kevin Harvick, what just happened? All right, if Kevin Harvick starting 24th finishes 7th, that's going to outscore William Byron by a lot. So that's how it's going to be. Those guys have a much higher floor and higher ceiling, in all honesty, because we're not really. It's very rare we see someone be a major lap leader at these tracks. So that's just how we're looking at it. You're just trying to play guys starting from the back. That's just how it is. Don't worry about filling out, filling out the salary in your lineup. I wouldn't, play 6 guys, 6K or below, and leave a ton of it on it, because you still want guys that are going to finish high, and it's really unlikely that all those guys work out. But if you're leaving 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, even 10,000, I think that's fine. But don't go starting leaving $20,000 on the table. It can work. It might cash you, but I don't think you're going to win anything big. So that's how I'm looking at it. We'll just go through the drivers, talk about them real quickly, because I'm not really interested in everybody, but just about everybody I am. I'm outside of guys in top 10. Top 10 guys, once again, all these guys starting 10th or higher, or lower, however you want to say that. I'm not playing them. That's just how it is. I said the same thing in the Xfinity Series video. I say the same thing pretty much every one of these slates. So if you're playing tournaments, you can get to them, but I'd still rather just play guys in the 11 to 20 range. Justin Haley starts 11th. I mean, Justin Haley in the Xfinity Series, for the 2 or 3 years he was in Xfinity, he was the best plate racer. It really wasn't even close. I mean, he won 2 of these races a year at least. I think 1 year he did win 3 to 4, or maybe all 3 or something like that. So Justin Haley, great plate racer. We didn't really see him in Daytona 500, but I mean, that's, it's new for him. He's a rookie. You don't really expect him to be all that amazing yet, but starting 11th, I'm okay going there. Kyle Busch starting 12th, completely fine going there. Completely fine. Joey Logano. I mean, we know Joey Logano is one of the best, if not the best plate racer in NASCAR right now. So I really like that. Austin Dillon starting 14th. Completely fine with that. Brad Keselowski starting 15th, another top-end plate racer in NASCAR right now. We saw him do really well at Daytona. I think he led the most laps. He was definitely the best car that day. I mean, he needs a win, man. He's not even in the top 30 in points right now. Keselowski's had a rough year. Win would go a long way for Brad. So, and honestly, the way he's been running this year, only tracks I think he can win at are Daytona and Talladega, and there's only two. Well, this one in Daytona before the playoffs, so he's gonna need to win one of those in my opinion to make it. So, would expect him to be very aggressive, which could lead to a wreck, but it could also lead to him winning. I don't mind placing a bet on there. Eric Jones, underrated plate racer. I'll be placing my yearly bet at Daytona and Talladega on Eric Jones to win because I do it every single time because he is a very good plate racer and he finds himself in the mix. It doesn't matter what car he's in every single time at these tracks, especially Talladega. He always seems to wreck at Daytona and do better at Talladega, but not this year. He did do well in Daytona 500. There was a little bit there I was like, oh my gosh, my Eric Jones might win Daytona 500. Didn't, but almost won Talladega last year. I believe it was this race. So, I mean, I really like Eric Jones these plate races. He's going to get that 43 car in victory lane at one of them one of these days. So, would love to see it be this weekend. Chase Briscoe starting 17th, fine play in my opinion. Austin Cindric starting 18th, won a Daytona 500, should be a good play. Ross Chastain starting 19th, I think he should be a good play as well. I mean, all these guys are good plays. Like, I mean, let's just be real. But once again, it's really more about lineup construction than anything. But once again, 11 through 20 range, I'm only playing those guys in tournaments or single entry or 3 max, those kind of contests, not playing them in cash. So, Ty Dillon, like him as well. He actually always seems to run well at these plate races as well. But, I mean, it's still really not something I'm really too interested in is really their history. I'm really just more interested in them where they're starting, and making sure they have a car that's going to be able to keep up speed, Michael McDowell starting 21st. I'm fine with that. We saw him win Daytona 500 last year, so fine with that. Ryan Blaney, I expect to be really highly owned. I mean, I've said, a few guys who might be the best plate racer in NASCAR. I actually think Ryan Blaney is. I mean, he wins one of these races every year, it seems like, at this point. I mean, it's just, the last few years, he's just been unstoppable, especially Talladega. I think he got 2 or 3 wins there now. So, I mean, he's a great Talladega racer. Starting 22nd, he's going to be really popular. I expect him to be running up towards the front and being contending for the win. So, like Eric Almirola as well. I mean, this is definitely his best style track, also his plate racing. So, really like him here. Kevin Harvick starting 24th. I feel like no one ever really plays Kevin Harvick at plate races when he's starting towards the back. He's not really thought about as a good plate racer, but he is always up there. So, I like Kevin Harvick here. Harrison Burton starting 25th. Completely fine with that. I know he flipped over at Daytona and really has been bad all year, but at that, he was like in first place when he flipped over at Daytona. So, he was running well before, he was upside down. So, I mean, he's shown to be good at the plate races this year. I know he's been bad everywhere else, but starting 25th, that should be a good play. We all know Ricky Stenhouse Jr., history of plate races, those are his only 2 wins. Should be good. Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, I expect a ton of ownership. I mean, like, you can predict pretty much the chalk and cash, in all honesty, this week, and I think Chase Elliott for sure will be there starting 28th. I mean, people like to play Chase Elliott regardless every single week. Now you get him starting 28th, and, I mean, the place where and the type of spot you want to play Chase Elliott at a plate race. I mean, even if he starts in the top 10 like he usually does, he gets ownership. So I expect him to be like 50% owned in all honesty, but I think he's a great play. I don't want to get away from him. Cole Custer starting 29. Looks like a good play to me. I know Cole Custer's had a brutal year, but, plate racing is different. Chris Buescher starting 30th. Like him a lot here, too. He always seems to end up being in the mix at the end of these races, too. Like I've seen, he's been up there a lot. I think he might be able to get a win here one of these days, but maybe it'll be this weekend. Noah Gregson's driving the 62 car for Beer Motorsports, new sponsor this week, so good for him there. Starting 31st, I mean, he's going to be popular. I mean, everyone likes Noah Gregson. Everyone knows who he is at this point. He's shown to be very good in plate racing in Xfinity Series. He's won at Daytona. He always seems to be in the mix at Daytona, Talladega every other time, so I really like going here. We've seen that 62 car have speed in the past with Brendan Gaughan, so they had speed at Daytona earlier this year when they ran Daytona 500 with Noah Gregson. I believe he wrecked out of that race, but he was running fine before that, so really like him here. Todd Gilliland ran great in Daytona. I'm sure he'll get a lot of ownership. I also think Corey LaJoie will get a lot of ownership. Like I'm saying, I'm pretty sure you can pretty much project the cash lineup here, like the chalk cash lineup. It's going to be like LaJoie, Noah Gregson, Chase Elliott, and then I think David Reagan. And then I don't know what everyone else can do, but I mean, it's just, there's so many options this week. Cody Ware, I mean, we don't like Cody Ware, but Rick Ware Racing hasn't been slow this year, so I don't think this is a bad play. I think he can hang with the pack and be fine. Greg Biffle's one of the cars I'm worried about. There's 3 cars I'm worried about. Greg Biffle's one of them. This New York racing team just is not fast. They have not really shown speed. I mean, we didn't really see too much of it at Daytona. I think he's definitely a better play than Mccloud or Yaley, but I don't think you need to get to Biffle when you can just play David Reagan. And usually I'm all for going to the guys that no one wants to play, and I'm still doing that. Like Cody Ware, David Reagan, people are going to play, but that's a Rick Ware car. Landon Castle too, I'm fine with those guys, but I'm kind of wary of Greg Biffle wouldn't be surprised if them have like an engine issue or something. BJ Mccloud, actually, okay, I changed my mind. BJ Mccloud's fine. This Live Fast team, we've seen him, I think he had top 10 run at Daytona last year, so forget what I said about that. I think he can run well here, run in the pack. And I mean, these guys can't go a lap down. That's basically it. They can't go at least more than one lap down. If they get one lap down, it'll be fine. They'll be wrecks because of Talladega, and they'll get it back on the lead lap. But if they can stay on the lead lap and just, hang in the back all day when there's a bunch of wrecks, they're just going to move past all those cars, and these guys are going to get points. So, and no one's going to play him. No one's playing BJ Mccloud or JJ, or no, we're not playing Yeley. No one's playing BJ Mccloud, Cody Ware, Landon Castle here. So, I mean, just look towards that. JJ Yeley, I think this is the car that probably is the slowest this week. He did qualify last. Landon Castle did not get a chance to qualify because of penalties or whatever, so Yeley was the slowest car. I know qualifying doesn't mean anything, but, I mean, I do think this is probably the slowest car this week. If I'm going to fade one of these guys in the bottom, it's probably Yeley, so probably not going to want to go there. And I really like Landon Castle. I mean, he didn't qualify. He, literally didn't run a lap. So, starting at $4,900. I mean, the Spire team's fast. I mean, look, we've seen Corey LaJoy run up in the top 5. I've seen Ross Chastain do well in that 77 a few years ago at plate races, so Landon Castle's a pretty good plate racer. We've seen him up in the front. In Xfinity, we've seen him up in the front. I believe he almost won a Cup race Talladega years ago. So, he knows what he's doing out here. This is not trash equipment, so I like Landon Castle. But, yeah, that's pretty much really it. I mean, pretty quick video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Go check out that other video if you want to learn more about stacking the back and why it works, why it's important. I'll put the link in the description below. But, yeah, that's really it. Good luck this weekend, and have a great rest of your day.